The 25th Hour Radio Show.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in today to the 25th Hour Radio Show here on Monster Radio, AM 1150. I am your host, Rob Fairless, and on the phone with me today is actress/author Danica McKellar. Danica, thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day to join me on the show.
My pleasure.
Just so everyone knows, Danica has a couple of new and exciting projects on her plate at the moment. A new Hallmark movie, channel movie called Campfire Kiss, and a brand new children's book set to release March 7th called Goodnight Numbers. Now, this isn't the first book you've authored. You've released a few other very successful books, all centered around mathematics. And if you don't mind here, just as a way to open up the interview, why branch off from acting and devote your time towards a second career as an author? What was the drive there for you to do that?
Well, when I graduated from high school and was going to college, that was around the time that the Wonder Years ended, and I was ready to start a new chapter of my life. And I went to UCLA, and I actually, in the midst of deciding to be a film major, I took a math class, even though I thought college math would be too difficult for me. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. And I took the plunge, took a math class, and I was hooked. A lot of child actors go through a pretty rough time following the cancellation of their show because, you know, when you're a teenager, you're trying to figure out who you are, right?
Yeah.
And at that time, then suddenly the thing you've been valued for so much is gone. And you start to wonder, well, who would I be if I didn't have this show? Who would I be if people didn't think of me as this character? What would my value be? And when I was at UCLA, after I took the math class, I did so well in it. And I just discovered that I had a passion for math. And I loved the way it made me feel. I loved the challenge of it. I loved that feeling of struggling through a math problem and finally getting it and proving to myself that I'm smarter than I thought and all of that. I thought it was so valuable to me in my development, my self-esteem, and just figuring out who I was, that I realized that the feeling of being like valued for something that has nothing to do with your appearance is really powerful, especially for women. So after I graduated and got a degree in mathematics, I had so many women saying, oh my gosh, I can never do math. I was so horrible about it. Well, actually, it wasn't that bad, but then there was this one test or this one teacher or this one whatever, and I gave up on it, basically.
Yeah.
And because women have this, there's a stereotype around that tells women they're not going to be as good at math as boys. What happens is when they do hit a stumbling block, because math is full of challenges, then they tend to see that not as a temporary stumbling block, but as evidence of what they've always known deep down, which is that they don't belong in math. So it became my mission to obliterate that stereotype as much as I could, to say, you know what, being female does not mean that you're not going to be good at math. My goodness, you've got all the brain power that you want, and you just exercise your brain by doing things like math. You'll get smarter, and to really own it, to really own your smarts. Girls today, tweens, are, believe it or not, still dumbing themselves down because they think it makes them more attractive. And this is something that I discovered when I was writing my first book. It was horrifying to me that these girls were saying things like, there's no such thing as dumb girls. They're just pretending to be dumb. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're girls pretending to be dumb. And these girls are like 11 years old. So that's just really fueled my fire even more, and wanting to give these girls another way of thinking about math, which is not something that's too scary or too hard or too, boring or just for nerds or just for boys. But it's actually, math is a tool that can make them more capable of fulfilling their dreams, whatever their dreams are. Because doing math is like going to the gym for your brain, and it will make you smarter, and it will help you to be a better problem solver. And that really does apply to all areas of life. So all this kind of stuff that I was discovering made me want to write. I've got 4 books now, these New York Times bestsellers for middle school and high school girls. Math Doesn't Suck is the first one. Actually, you can go to McKellarMath.com and you can see all the books. McKellarMath.com, there's a big slider button that shows you the right ages for which books. On the left, it's like babies, and on the right, it's adults, and they're all the different ages in between. And so that way, if your kid is like 5 or 10 or 15 or whatever, you can be like, oh, well, there's the right McKellar math for my child. And so after I wrote those books, I had a lot of parents asking me if I could go younger. And because people asking for books for boys, because girls aren't the only ones struggling with math these days. So I was like, all right. So I ended up signing an 8-book deal. And so Goodnight Numbers is for ages 0 to 5. And that is the first of 8 books that'll go from the youngest of readers, or people who are being read to when they're like 1 year old, up through third grade, to bring us basically up to the ages of the books that already exist. And again, McKellarmath.com, that's already there, and it shows you which books are right for which age.
So, I'm one of the lucky few who's been able to get an advanced copy of the book. And I've been putting it to the test, with my daughter. And Danica, she loves it. I mean, I've had to...
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah,
How old is she?
Yeah, she is 5 years old. I've
my
had
gosh,
to read
perfect.
it to her every night since it came in the mail. She calls it Daddy's special book because it came in the mail for me. So she just loves it.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, I think what she's most attracted to about it is that it's interactive.
Yes.
In the illustrations, you find objects that correspond to the number on the page. She enjoys looking through the illustrations and finding those objects. Was that your concept, or was that something you worked with together with the illustrator?
Well, so every page, we count from 1 to 10 for people who don't have the book in front of them now, which is most people since it's not out yet.
Yeah.
It's a counting book. It's a bedtime book that you read to your children called Goodnight Numbers. It counts from 1 to 10, and you count the objects around you as you go to sleep. And every page, by the way, has a different family. I wanted to represent all ethnicities. I wanted there to be dads and moms and little boys and little girls. So you'll see a big mix of all of that in the book. And on every page, so like let's say the 4 page, it's bath time. So there are the 4 objects. They're the objects that there are 4 of in the text. And then there are also lots of other things to count. So there's 4 froggies on the bathroom mat. Sure, you can count the 4 froggies, but there are probably, I don't have the book in front of me right now, but there's like 4, maybe there's 4 towels, and or there's 4 this, there's 4 that. And the more you look at the page, the more stuff you'll find to count of that number. And also on every page, there's a 10 frame disguised as a picture frame up on the wall. So you get a chance to see, as a toddler, to see 10 frames. And 10 frames are something that little kids are usually introduced to either in kindergarten or first grade. It's very common, and it's how to understand tens, how to understand how to count to 10, how to add numbers when there's 10 involved. It's a wonderful tool in elementary school. And so I thought, why not familiarize kids with it now? Kind of sneak it in there. They look like picture frames, but they're really 10 frames. And just to get that, grease the wheels.
Yeah. There's so many other basic fundamentals you put into these pages that make it fun to learn. Because, really, I don't think my daughter looks at it as learning, even though it is. It's like a game to her, or better yet, like homework that she looks forward to. I mean,
but at this age, learning should be play. Yeah.
You ever thought about doing books on maybe getting dressed, getting out of bed, putting on your clothes, stuff like that?
That's funny.
Because you are good at that. I mean, it makes it fun for her, so she wants to do it. As a father, and I'm sure you're a parent yourself, right?
Yes, I've got a 6-year-old.
So you know what I mean.
Oh yes. Drago, get dressed, please. Put your clothes on now.
Well, I'm pretty.
Why have you been playing with that one sock for 10 minutes? I don't understand.
There you go. Exactly. Well, I'm pretty confident in saying you have another hit on your hands in this book, Goodnight Numbers.
Thank you.
And I can't express in words how much my daughter looks forward to me reading this book to her at night. And she's even starting to learn a little bit of Spanish, which is just one of the 5 languages presented inside the pages your child can learn. Parents, just Google Goodnight Numbers or go to McKellar Math. You're going to get a ton of options on how to purchase the book starting March 7th, and there's also a pre-order option available, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So
you're so on the end, you're talking about the end papers, the beginning and the very end of the book. I've got the numbers 1 through 10 also expressed in other languages.
Yeah. So do yourself and your child a favor and look this book up and purchase it. Now, I want to wrap this show up by talking about this new movie you got out on the Hallmark Channel, Campfire Kiss, which airs March 18th, 8 Central Standard Time. Who's your character in this movie, and what's this movie about?
So I play a math teacher in this movie, actually. Okay. This is the first Hallmark Channel movie that I've helped to produce. And because of that, of course, by design, I am a math teacher. It's a romantic comedy like they all are. And in this movie, my character doesn't know anything about camping. She's really a fish out of water, but wants to connect with her son. She's a single mom. And so I take him on this family camping trip for spring break. Well, so does a handsome single father. How do you like that? Uh-huh. He's got a 14-year-old girl who is struggling with her schoolwork. She thinks she's afraid of math and thinks that it's going to make her a nerd if she does it. So, of course, we end up helping each other's kids through the course of the movie and falling in love. And in the meantime, it's pretty funny. There's some pretty funny stuff because my character really is not comfortable camping, and the guy owns a wilderness store. So, of course, it's like his own backyard.
Mm-hmm.
He's extremely comfortable with it. So it's a really fun movie. I'm really excited about it. Again, Hallmark Channel, March 18th at 8 Central, and I will be live tweeting the movie. So find me at Danica McKellar on Twitter.
Now, you mentioned producing this film. Is this the first time you've produced a film, or is this like old hat for you?
It's the first time I've done it with Hallmark Channel. I produced some TV movies with Lifetime, about 10 years ago, but I wasn't as involved, to be honest. I was much more involved with just the writing aspect. Whereas this one with Hallmark, I was involved in the writing. Well, I brought the idea to them, which is new for me. And then I was involved in the writing. I was involved, I wasn't the writer, but I was involved in making notes and things, involved in the casting, involved in the editing. Of course, on set, I made all sorts of little changes and things while we were shooting it as well. It's been a wonderful process. I just love storytelling. I love movie making. And to have the opportunity to play all these different roles within it was really fun.
Now, like you mentioned, this isn't the first film you've done for the Hallmark Channel. You've actually done quite a few. Now, the Hallmark Channel is known for being family friendly. You don't have to worry about parental settings on your cable box or anything
Exactly.
like that. Now, as an actress at this point in your career, do you think you found your niche there as a family friendly actress since you have achieved so much success with the Hallmark Channel?
I am having a great time. Who knows what the future will hold, but I really love it. I'm extremely grateful to be part of this type of network. And they say that they're going to stay the way they are, and that makes me feel really good because I think it's a wonderful relationship.
Now, you spoke of social media. I can tell you're really excited about this movie and the book and the way you speak about it on your social media page.
Yes, yeah, I know. I'm all over it. I'm in Instagram, Facebook Live, Periscope, which I do every Monday, by the way. I do McKellar Motivational Monday on Periscope and Facebook. Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. I mean, I'm pretty good I'm okay on Snapchat. I don't do it that often. Yeah. I'll do it here. If I think something's really interesting, but I just don't want to snap like my laundry, So
Well, it's strange you say that because my next question I was going to ask you, without mentioning any names, I've had guests on the show who are totally against social media for whatever reason, but there was one reason given that has stuck with me, and that was that social media kind of takes away the mystique of a celebrity. You understand?
It's true. It really depends. Yeah, it depends on what you want. If you want mystique, then you probably shouldn't do social media. For me, I actually like connecting with people, but that's why I'm an author. That's why I want to connect with people, and I love connecting directly.
Now, Danica, before we sign off here, is there anything I might have missed you want to mention, or possibly just say a few words to all your fans out there listening right now who have supported you throughout the years?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone for supporting me throughout the years. I feel so blessed to be doing two careers that I love so much, acting and math book writing. And please find me on social media. Reach out. I've actually got a McKellar Math account on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and I just started them. It's fledgling. There aren't many followers, so especially if you tweet me on my McKellar Math account, I'll probably see it faster than I will any other way. But please visit me at McKellarMath.com as well. And I look forward to live tweeting with you guys from my Danica McKellar Twitter account on March 18th for the movie Campfire Kiss. And yes, please, if you have anybody in your life who is 0 to 5 years old, check out my new book, Goodnight Numbers. You can go to goodnightnumbers.com, or you can find it at McKellarMath.com. And I look forward to hearing what you think.
Now, let me reiterate this. Once again, Danica's new book, Goodnight Numbers, is available March 7th. Even if you're not a parent of a young child, it would make a great gift to someone who is. And the new movie, Campfire Kiss, airs March 18th at 8 p.m. Central Time. That's our local time on the Hallmark Channel. Danica, once again, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. It has been my pleasure.
Me as well. Thank you.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.